Ladies and gentlemen, stress is something we all face, but it's important to understand that stress is not a dead end. It's a sign that something significant is about to happen in your life. God often uses challenges and pressure as tools to refine us, much like how gold is purified by fire. The stress you are feeling right now is preparing you for a greater purpose, a responsibility that you will soon be ready to carry. Many times, blessings arrive only after a period of intense pressure. So the weight on your shoulders today is not a punishment, but a preparation for a breakthrough. In these moments, your faith must rise stronger than your fear, because God's timing is always perfect. He will turn your stress into a huge blessing exactly when you need it most. Learning to recognize God's hand in your struggles helps you stay hopeful and resilient, and cultivating gratitude, even in difficult times, opens the door for those blessings to flow into your life. Remember, stress is temporary, but the blessings that follow are eternal. You are never alone in your journey. God walks with you every step of the way, guiding you toward peace, abundance, and joy. So hold on, stay strong, and believe that very soon your stress will transform into a magnificent blessing beyond your expectations. Stress is something that everyone experiences at different points in their lives. It often feels heavy, overwhelming, and difficult to bear. When stress comes knocking on your door, it can be tempting to view it as a stop sign, a signal that you need to quit, give up, or back away from your dreams and goals. But the truth is, stress is not a stopper. Stress is a sign. It is a sign that something important is happening beneath the surface. It is a signal that you are on the edge of change, growth, or breakthrough. Rather than being a reason to stop, stress is an indicator that you are moving forward in life, even if the path looks challenging right now. Understanding stress as a sign rather than a stopper is a powerful mindset shift. When you see stress as a sign, you recognize that it plays a meaningful role in your personal development and spiritual journey. Life doesn't always hand us easy roads. Sometimes it puts us through difficult situations to awaken our inner strength and potential. Stress often shows up just before a major shift, a new opportunity, or a turning point. It is like the tension in a bowstring. The more tension there is, the farther the arrow can fly once released. In this way, stress is the preparation phase that creates the necessary energy and focus for your breakthrough. It's also important to understand that stress itself is not the enemy. The problem is often how we react to stress. When you view stress as a dead end, you allow fear, frustration, and doubt to take over. But when you accept stress as a sign, you open your mind to learning, growth, and change. You become curious instead of defeated. You ask yourself questions like, what is this stress trying to teach me? And how can I use this pressure to improve or move forward? This educational approach to stress invites wisdom and resilience, enabling you to face challenges with courage rather than running away from them. On a deeper level, especially for those who believe in God or a higher power, stress can be seen as a divine signal. It is God's way of saying that something significant is about to happen, that you are being prepared for a blessing or responsibility greater than what you have experienced before. The Bible often speaks about how God uses difficult seasons to refine His people, to build their character, and to prepare them for their destiny. Stress, trials, and challenges are not punishments or random misfortunes. They are purposeful moments crafted to strengthen your faith, patience, and perseverance. In practical terms, stress challenges you to develop skills and qualities that are essential for success. It forces you to manage your time better, prioritize what matters most, build emotional strength, and learn problem solving. When stress arrives, it demands that you get creative, push beyond your comfort zone, and grow mentally and spiritually. All these lessons are necessary for the blessings that lie ahead. Without the pressure of stress, many people would never discover their true potential or realize how capable they truly are. Another key insight is that stress tests your mindset. It reveals whether your faith and confidence are solid or shaky. When stress comes, your attitude and beliefs determine the outcome. If you believe stress is a sign, you will be more likely to remain hopeful and optimistic, seeking solutions rather than dwelling on problems. You will be encouraged to lean into God's promises, trusting that He is working behind the scenes even when you can't see it. This faith-based perspective changes the whole experience of stress from something scary to something meaningful and even hopeful. It's vital to remember that stress is temporary. No matter how intense it feels in the moment, stress never lasts forever. It comes, it serves its purpose, and then it passes. When you remind yourself that stress is only a season, a sign on your path rather than the end of the road, you are empowered to persevere. The most successful people in history have faced immense stress and pressure, yet they refused to stop. They understood stress as a sign that their blessing was near and kept moving forward until their breakthrough arrived. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by stress, remember this: stress is not there to stop you, but to signal you. It is an important sign that your life is about to change, that something better is coming, and that you are on a path toward growth and blessing. Embrace stress with courage, curiosity, and faith, and watch how it transforms your journey in powerful and unexpected ways. Life is full of challenges, and while many people try to avoid them, challenges are actually essential to our growth and transformation. One of the most important truths to understand is that God uses challenges to refine us. Just like a skilled craftsman uses tools to shape raw material into something valuable and beautiful. When difficulties and trials come into your life, they are not there to break you, but to build you up, to purify your character, and to prepare you for the blessings and responsibilities ahead. This refining process may be uncomfortable and even painful, but it is purposeful and necessary. When you think about refining, consider how precious metals like gold and silver are purified. Raw gold is mixed with impurities, and it is put into fire to melt. The fire is intense and can seem destructive, but it is actually the very thing that separates the pure gold from the dross. Without fire, the gold would remain mixed with impurities and could never shine in its true brilliance. In a similar way, the challenges and pressures we face in life are like the fire that refines us. They remove what is unnecessary, what is weak, and what holds us back, so that the best part of who we are can emerge. God's refining work is not random. It is deeply intentional. He allows certain challenges in our lives to test our faith, to build our patience, and to deepen our reliance on Him. This refining process develops qualities like perseverance, humility, and wisdom. When life is easy, it can be tempting to become complacent or to rely solely on our own strength. But when challenges come, they teach us to seek God's guidance and to trust Him more fully. This trust strengthens our spiritual foundation and prepares us for future opportunities. The Bible provides many examples of how God uses challenges to refine His people. Consider the story of Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his brothers and later thrown into prison. His journey was filled with hardship and injustice, but God was using those challenges to prepare Joseph for a position of great leadership in Egypt. When Joseph's time came, he was ready to save many lives during a severe famine because of the character and wisdom developed through his trials. Similarly, David faced many challenges before becoming king, and these experiences refined his heart and faith. These stories remind us that no challenge is wasted when God is at work. Challenges also help us understand our true selves. When everything is smooth, it's easy to believe in a false sense of security or strength. But stress, difficulties, and obstacles reveal what is really inside us. They expose areas where we need growth and healing. God uses these moments to bring those hidden parts to light so that we can work on them and become the people we were created to be. In this way, challenges are like a mirror, showing us both our weaknesses and our potential. It's natural to want to avoid pain and discomfort, but it's important to realize that the refining process is temporary and ultimately beneficial. Just as the heat of the fire only lasts a short time in the refining of gold, the trials we face do not last forever. When you persevere through these challenges with faith, you come out stronger, purer, and more prepared for what lies ahead. The blessing that follows is often greater than anything you could have imagined because you have been shaped to receive it. This process of refinement also teaches us valuable lessons about patience and timing. Sometimes we want to skip the hard parts or rush through difficulties. But God's refining process happens in His perfect timing. Learning to trust this timing is part of the growth. When you accept that challenges are a necessary part of your journey and that God is working through them, you develop a peace that surpasses understanding. This peace sustains you during tough times and keeps you focused on the ultimate goal. The challenges you face are a sign that God sees something precious in you. He believes you are worth refining. Just as a jeweler invests time and effort to bring out the beauty in a rough stone, God is investing in your life through the trials you face. Instead of resisting the challenges, embrace them as opportunities for growth. Know that with every difficulty, God is shaping you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient person, ready to fulfill your divine purpose. When you look back, you will realize that those challenges were not obstacles, but stepping stones toward a life of blessing and fulfillment. Pressure is an inevitable part of life, and while many people try to avoid it, pressure often plays a crucial role in the arrival of blessings. It might seem counterintuitive, but blessings frequently come after a period of intense pressure, difficulty, or challenge. When you feel overwhelmed, stressed, or pushed to your limits, it is often a sign that you are on the verge of a breakthrough. Understanding this dynamic can transform the way you perceive your struggles and help you remain hopeful and resilient when times are tough. Think about pressure like the pressure applied to coal deep inside the earth. Over time, with enough heat and compression, coal transforms into a diamond, one of the most beautiful and valuable substances on the planet. This transformation does not happen quickly or easily. It requires immense pressure and time. Similarly, the pressure you face in life is the process by which God shapes and prepares you for the blessings that lie ahead. The discomfort you feel today is actually creating the conditions necessary for your future success, growth, and happiness. Pressure serves several important purposes. First, it reveals your true strength and character. When life is easy, it's difficult to know what you're truly capable of. But when you are under pressure, your real qualities emerge. Do you give up or do you push through? Do you complain or do you stay focused? This testing moment is crucial because it builds resilience. the ability to bounce back stronger after adversity. Resilience is one of the most valuable traits a person can develop, and it often develops only under pressure. Second, pressure forces you to grow. Just like muscles get stronger when they are pushed beyond their usual limits, your mind, spirit, and skills grow when you face challenges. When you are under pressure, you are often required to think creatively, learn new things, and develop new strategies. This growth prepares you for bigger opportunities. It equips you to handle more responsibility and to enjoy the blessings in a deeper, more meaningful way. Without pressure, many people would never reach their full potential because growth requires pushing beyond comfort zones. Another important aspect of pressure is that it teaches patience and faith. When you are feeling pressed and stressed, it can be tempting to try to force things to happen faster or to take shortcuts. But pressure reminds you that some things take time. Blessings don't always come on your schedule, but on God's perfect timing. This waiting period is where faith is tested and strengthened. Learning to trust the process and believe that God is working behind the scenes, even when you can't see it, is essential. Faith during pressure keeps you calm, hopeful, and focused. Many stories from Scripture and history illustrate how blessings come after pressure. Take the story of Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. For years, Moses endured rejection, obstacles, and pressure as he prepared to lead a nation. The period of pressure was long and difficult, but it culminated in the miraculous crossing of the Red Sea and the fulfillment of God's promise. Similarly, Joseph spent many years in prison after being falsely accused, but through that pressure, he was prepared to become a leader who saved many lives. These stories remind us that pressure is not the end, it is the necessary path toward blessing. Pressure also teaches humility. When everything is going well, it's easy to become prideful or self-reliant. But pressure humbles us and reminds us of our limitations. It encourages us to seek help, guidance, and strength beyond ourselves, often turning us toward God. This humility is part of the blessing because it aligns our hearts and minds with a greater purpose and greater power. It prepares us to be vessels of blessing to others, not just recipients. It's crucial to understand that pressure is temporary. No matter how intense or long-lasting it feels, pressure is never permanent. It serves a purpose and then passes, leaving you stronger, wiser, and more ready for the blessings that follow. When you feel pressure, remind yourself that this moment is preparing you for something greater. The pressure is molding you, strengthening you, and positioning you for a blessing that will make all the struggle worthwhile. So when stress and pressure come into your life, remember this. These difficult moments are not punishments or signs that you are failing. Instead, they are the proving ground for your future blessings. Embrace the pressure as a vital part of your journey and trust that very soon God will turn this pressure into a huge blessing that will exceed your expectations. Faith is an incredibly powerful force in the journey from stress to blessing. When life becomes stressful and overwhelming, it is easy to feel lost, anxious, or hopeless. Yet faith acts as a bridge that carries us over the troubled waters of stress and connects us to the blessings that lie ahead. Without faith, stress can become a weight that crushes us. But with faith, stress becomes a stepping stone that leads us closer to God's purpose and favor. Faith means trusting in something beyond what we can see, beyond what we can see in the moment. It is believing in the unseen, the promises of God, and the assurance that there is a greater plan at work, even when circumstances look difficult or confusing. This trust doesn't come from wishful thinking or mere optimism, but from a deep confidence built on spiritual understanding, personal experience, and the truth of God's Word. When you exercise faith during stressful times, you choose to focus on what God has promised rather than what your current situation might suggest. Stress naturally triggers doubt and fear. It makes us question our abilities, our future, and even God's goodness. But faith acts like a shield, protecting our minds and hearts from the destructive effects of worry and negativity. It reminds us that stress is temporary and that God's blessings are eternal. This perspective shift is crucial because it changes the way we respond to challenges. Instead of giving in to despair or frustration, faith empowers us to persevere, knowing that God is working behind the scenes. Faith also requires action. It is not passive or idle waiting, but an active commitment to believe and move forward despite uncertainty. This means continuing to do what is right, keeping a positive attitude, and maintaining hope even when the path is unclear. Faith motivates us to keep planting seeds of effort, kindness, and prayer, trusting that God will bring the harvest in His perfect timing. This active faith helps us stay grounded and focused rather than being consumed by stress. When you look at the lives of great leaders and faithful people throughout history, you will see that their faith was the key factor that carried them through their toughest moments. They did not have perfect lives or easy journeys, but their belief in God's promises gave them strength and courage. This teaches us that faith is not the absence of difficulty. Faith enables us to see beyond the immediate pressure to the blessings that are being prepared for us. Another important aspect of faith is surrender. Sometimes stress increases because we try to control every detail of our lives. We want immediate solutions and quick fixes, but faith teaches us to surrender our worries and plans to God's wisdom. This surrender is not about giving up. It is about giving over control to a higher power who knows what is best. When we surrender in faith, we open ourselves to receive God's guidance and blessings in ways we never imagined. This trust releases us from the burden of trying to figure everything out on our own. Faith also connects us to a community of support. When you believe you are part of a larger family that encourages, prays for, and uplifts one another. This community strengthens your faith and helps you endure stress by reminding you that you are not alone. Shared faith creates bonds that provide comfort and hope, making the journey from stress to blessing less daunting. In practical terms, cultivating faith during stressful times involves daily habits like prayer, meditation on positive and spiritual truths, reading scriptures, and surrounding yourself with uplifting influences. These practices reinforce your belief in God's power to turn your stress into a blessing. They remind you that no matter how dark the moment seems, there is always a light on the horizon. Faith is the bridge that carries you from a place of struggle to a place of triumph. When you build your life on faith, stress no longer has the final word. Instead, you move forward with confidence, knowing that God is about to turn your stress into a huge blessing very soon. Your faith anchors you through the storms and positions you to receive the incredible blessings God has prepared just for you. Patience is one of the most important qualities to develop when you are going through a stressful or challenging season. It is the key that unlocks the door to the blessings that God has in store for you. Often when we face trials, our natural response is to become impatient, wanting immediate relief or quick answers. However, the truth is that the waiting process is a vital part of the journey, and patience helps us to endure, learn, and grow while we wait for our breakthrough. When God is about to turn your stress into a huge blessing, it rarely happens overnight, The process takes time. The waiting period might feel long and even unbearable at times, but it is during this time that your character is being shaped, your faith is being strengthened, and your heart is being prepared to receive the blessing. Patience is not merely passive waiting, it is an active choice to trust in God's timing, even when it's difficult to understand. The world around us often teaches us to seek instant gratification. We live in a culture of fast results and quick fixes, but spiritual growth and divine blessings operate on a different timetable. Learning patience means shifting your mindset from "I want it now" to "I trust it will come at the right time." This shift in thinking is challenging but necessary for your growth and the fulfillment of God's plan. Patience also teaches you resilience. When you remain patient through trials, you are building the ability to endure future challenges with grace. This endurance is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you are committed to the journey, no matter how hard it gets. Every moment of patience you practice is like adding another layer of protection to your spirit, enabling you to face life's storms without being overwhelmed. Another important aspect of patience is learning to stay hopeful and positive while you wait. It's easy to become discouraged when blessings seem delayed. But patience calls for a hopeful heart that believes better days are coming. This hope fuels your persistence and keeps your faith alive. When you combine patience with hope, you create a powerful mindset that can overcome doubt and despair. The Bible offers many examples of patience in the waiting process. Abraham and Sarah waited many years for the promise of a child. Joseph waited through imprisonment before rising to leadership. David waited patiently while fleeing from enemies before becoming king. These examples show us that waiting is often a prerequisite to receiving God's promises. The waiting is not wasted time, it is preparation time. Patience also provides an opportunity for reflection and self-improvement. While you wait, you can examine your life, identify areas that need change, and work on becoming the person who is ready to receive the blessing. This inner work is crucial because blessings come not just as gifts, but as rewards for growth and readiness. Patience allows you to use the waiting period wisely rather than wasting it on frustration or negativity. It's important to remember that patience does not mean doing nothing. While waiting, you are encouraged to keep working, praying, and staying aligned with God's purpose. Patience is about trusting the process and continuing to take faithful steps forward even when you don't see immediate results. This balance between active faith and patient waiting is what prepares you for the eventual blessing. Sometimes, impatience can cause us to make decisions that derail our progress or cause us to miss the blessing entirely. Rushing ahead without wisdom or trying to force outcomes often leads to unnecessary setbacks. Patience helps you avoid these pitfalls by teaching you to wait for the right moment and to act in alignment with God's timing. In practical terms, cultivating patience involves daily reminders to slow down, breathe, and trust. It might include spiritual disciplines like prayer, meditation, or journaling to keep your mind focused on God's promises rather than your current difficulties. Surrounding yourself with encouraging people who support your journey can also reinforce your patience. Ultimately, patience is more than just waiting. It is trusting that God is working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. It is believing that your stress is temporary and that a huge blessing is on its way. By practicing patience, you position yourself to receive that blessing fully and joyfully when the time is right. So, embrace patience as your faithful companion in the waiting process. knowing that it is the key that will open the door to the abundant blessings God has prepared just for you. One of the most important truths to understand when you are feeling stressed and waiting for a breakthrough is that God's timing is perfect. This means that the moments when you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or uncertain are not random or accidental. Rather, they are part of a divine schedule designed with your ultimate good in mind. While it may be tempting to rush things or become impatient, trusting in God's perfect timing brings peace, clarity, and confidence that your blessing will arrive at exactly the right moment. When life feels difficult and your stress is at its peak, it's easy to feel as though God has forgotten you or is delaying your blessing unfairly. But it's important to remember that God sees the bigger picture, far beyond what your eyes can see or your mind can comprehend. He knows not only the when, but also the how and why of your life. His timing is based on a plan that considers all factors: your growth, the readiness of those around you, and the opportunities that will maximize your blessing's impact. What seems like a delay from your perspective is often a perfectly timed setup for something greater. Understanding God's perfect timing requires a shift in perspective. We live in a world where instant gratification is the norm, and waiting is often seen as a weakness or failure. However, divine timing is not bound by human clocks or schedules. It operates on a higher level of wisdom and purpose. When you accept this, you begin to realize that waiting is not wasted time, but rather a critical phase of preparation and refinement. Trusting God's timing also encourages patience and faith. It helps you resist the urge to force things to happen according to your own plans or timeline. Many people lose blessings because they try to accelerate the process through their own efforts, often leading to mistakes or missed opportunities. When you wait for God's timing, you allow His plan to unfold naturally, which results in blessings that are lasting, meaningful, and aligned with your true purpose. There are countless examples throughout history and Scripture that show how God's timing is perfect. For example, Jesus began His public ministry at just the right time, after years of preparation and teaching. The Israelites entered the Promised Land after a period of wandering and testing. These stories remind us that delays or waiting periods are not signs of failure, but essential parts of God's plan. Each season has a purpose, and every delay serves to prepare you for the blessing that is coming. Another reason God's timing is perfect is because it protects you from harm. Sometimes if things had happened sooner or later than they did, the results might not have been beneficial. God's timing ensures that you receive your blessing when you are ready emotionally, spiritually, and mentally to handle it. This divine wisdom prevents you from receiving what you are not yet prepared for and ensures that your blessings bring growth rather than harm or confusion. Believing in God's perfect timing also brings peace in the midst of uncertainty. When you understand that your life is under divine control, you no longer need to be anxious or fearful. You can rest in the assurance that God is orchestrating everything for your good. This peace enables you to focus on what you can control: your attitude, your actions, and your faith. It frees you from the burden of trying to figure everything out on your own. Practically speaking, trusting God's timing involves letting go of control and surrendering your plans to Him. It means cultivating a spirit of patience and hope even when you don't see immediate results. It means staying faithful through prayer, reflection, and positive actions, knowing that your moment is coming. This trust transforms waiting from a period of frustration into a season of spiritual growth and preparation. God's timing is perfect. even when it doesn't align with your expectations or desires. Stress and waiting are often necessary steps in the process of receiving your blessing. By trusting in God's perfect timing, you position yourself to receive your blessing at the right moment, a moment that will maximize its impact and fulfillment. So embrace the timing of your life with faith, patience, and hope, knowing that God's perfect plan is unfolding just as it should, and your blessing is on its way. Stress is often viewed as something negative, an obstacle to peace and happiness. However, stress can actually be a powerful signal that change is on the horizon. When you feel stressed, it is your mind and body's way of alerting you that something important is happening or about to happen in your life. Instead of fearing or avoiding stress, learning to recognize it as a sign of transformation can empower you to face challenges with courage and anticipation. When you experience stress, it usually means that your current situation is no longer sustainable or comfortable. Stress pushes you out of your comfort zone, indicating that growth is necessary. This discomfort, though unpleasant, is a catalyst for change. Just like a seed must be buried in the dark soil before it can sprout and grow into a strong plant, your stress is the preparation phase before the blessings and breakthroughs come. It's nature's way of telling you that something new is developing beneath the surface. Understanding stress as a sign of change helps shift your perspective from victim to victor. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or defeated by stress, you begin to see it as a natural and necessary part of progress. Stress is the tension that precedes the release of something better. It's the stretching that happens before you expand into a new level of life. This mindset change is crucial because it replaces fear and resistance with hope and readiness. Stress also serves to awaken your inner resources. When challenges come, you are forced to tap into strengths, talents, and resilience that may have been dormant. This process builds your character and equips you with the skills you need for the next season of life. The stress you feel today is building the stamina, wisdom, and perseverance that will help you handle future responsibilities and blessings. It's important to remember that not all stress is productive. However, when stress is connected to growth and change, it has a purpose. Stress caused by uncertainty about the future, fear of failure, or pressure to succeed is a signal that you are on the edge of transformation. Learning to manage this stress through healthy habits like prayer, meditation, exercise, and positive thinking allows you to harness its energy constructively. In spiritual terms, stress is often a precursor to a divine breakthrough. Many stories in Scripture show individuals who went through seasons of trial and tension before receiving their blessings. Joseph faced years of imprisonment before becoming a ruler. Moses led his people through the desert for decades before entering the Promised Land. These stories remind us that stress is a sign that God is working behind the scenes, preparing you for something greater. When you accept that stress signals change, you also learn the importance of patience and trust. Change rarely happens instantly, and the process may take time. The stress you experience is part of the journey, not the destination. By holding on to faith and trusting God's plan, you stay grounded and hopeful, even when the path feels difficult. Recognizing stress as a sign of change also helps you to embrace uncertainty rather than fear it. Change often brings unknowns, and the discomfort of not knowing what comes next can cause anxiety. But stress reminds you that you are in transition, moving from one phase to another. This transition is a natural and necessary part of life. Accepting it reduces resistance and allows you to move forward with courage. But stress as a sign of change encourages you to be proactive. Instead of avoiding problems or hoping they disappear, you take steps to adapt, learn, and prepare. You might seek new knowledge, develop new skills, or seek guidance from mentors or spiritual leaders. This proactive approach transforms stress from a burden into an opportunity for growth. Stress is not just a negative experience to be avoided. It is a powerful indicator that change is coming and growth is necessary. When you understand this, stress becomes a message of hope, a call to prepare for the blessings that God is about to bring into your life. By embracing stress with faith, patience, and a positive attitude, you position yourself to move through challenges and into the abundant blessings waiting on the other side. Faith is the foundation upon which all blessings are built, and often, before you receive your blessing, your faith will be tested. This testing is not meant to break you, but to strengthen you. It serves as a refining process that prepares you for the responsibility, growth, and joy that will come with the blessing. Understanding that faith tests are a necessary part of your journey helps you face challenges with courage and perseverance rather than despair. When you are under stress and pressure, it is natural to question why things are difficult and to wonder if your prayers will ever be answered. This is the moment when your faith is being examined. Will you continue to trust God despite the circumstances? Will you hold on to hope even when the situation looks bleak? These questions define how strong your faith really is and determine your readiness to receive what God has promised. Faith testing is like a spiritual workout. Just as physical exercise strengthens your muscles, the challenges you face strengthen your faith. Each time you choose to trust instead of fear, to remain patient instead of giving up, your faith becomes more resilient. This resilience is essential because blessings often require you to step into new roles or responsibilities that demand inner strength and confidence. It is important to realize that faith tests are not punishments or signs of failure. They are opportunities for growth and confirmation. When you endure these tests, you demonstrate that your belief is genuine and not dependent on circumstances. This kind of faith is what God honors and rewards. It shows that you are ready to handle the blessings that are coming. Many examples from Scripture illustrate how faith was tested before blessings were received. Abraham waited many years for the child God promised, but through the waiting and testing, his faith was proven strong. Job faced immense loss and suffering, yet he maintained his trust in God. These stories teach us that faith tested through hardship leads to a deeper, more mature relationship with God. During times of testing, it is crucial to keep your focus on God's promises rather than the problems at hand. This means regularly reminding yourself of what God has said in His Word and keeping your heart aligned with His truth. Prayer, meditation, and reading Scripture become vital tools to sustain your faith. They help you anchor your hope and stay grounded amid uncertainty. Faith tests also teach humility and dependence on God. When you realize that you cannot control everything and that your strength is limited, you learn to lean more on God's power and guidance. This dependence is not weakness, but wisdom. It opens the door for God's grace to work in your life in ways you could never achieve on your own. It is natural to feel discouraged during testing periods, but it is in these moments that perseverance becomes key. Perseverance is faith in action, the decision to keep going despite challenges and setbacks. This determination convinces your spirit that the blessing is real and worth waiting for. Remember, the longer you persevere, the closer you are to breakthrough. Another important aspect of faith testing is community. Often God uses others around you to encourage, support, and pray with you during your trials. Sharing your struggles with trusted friends, mentors, or spiritual leaders can provide fresh strength and insight. You are not meant to face your tests alone. Faith grows stronger in fellowship. Testing also sharpens your character. It teaches patience, humility, forgiveness, and compassion, qualities that prepare you for leadership and influence. When your faith passes the test, you are not just blessed, you are transformed. This transformation allows you to handle your blessings with wisdom and grace. Your faith will be tested before your blessing, and this testing is an essential part of your spiritual journey. It strengthens, refines, and prepares you for the incredible blessings God has in store. By embracing tests with trust, perseverance, and a heart focused on God's promises, you position yourself to receive your blessing fully and to walk in the purpose God has planned for you. Remember, every test is a step closer to the breakthrough that will change your life. It is a profound truth that blessings often come right after the hardest trials. Life's most significant breakthroughs and divine favors frequently follow moments of deep struggle, pain, or challenge. This pattern is not accidental. It is a natural part of growth and transformation. Understanding this reality can change how you perceive your current hardships and motivate you to hold on when things seem toughest. Trials test your endurance, faith, and character. They push you to your limits and sometimes beyond. These experiences may feel overwhelming or unfair, but they are not meaningless. The difficulties you face refine your spirit and prepare you to receive and appreciate the blessings that await you. When you emerge on the other side of a hard trial, you are stronger, wiser, and more equipped to handle the responsibilities and joy that come with your blessing. It's important to recognize that blessings are not simply handed to you without effort or challenge. They require preparation, which often comes through hardship. Just as precious metals are purified by fire, your life is purified by trials. These experiences burn away impurities like fear, doubt, and complacency, leaving behind a stronger, more resilient you. The blessing that follows is richer and more meaningful because of the journey you endured. Many spiritual traditions and scriptures emphasize the connection between suffering and blessing. For example, in the Bible, the story of Joseph is a powerful illustration. Joseph endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment before rising to become a ruler who saved many lives. His blessing came only after enduring severe trials. This story reminds us that the timing of blessings is often aligned with the completion of a difficult process. Hard trials also serve to deepen your faith and dependence on God. When life is easy, it's tempting to rely on your own strength and understanding, but during tough times, you learn to seek God more earnestly and trust Him more fully. This increased intimacy with God prepares you for the blessing by building a relationship founded on trust rather than convenience. The blessing you receive after trials is therefore not only material or external, but also spiritual and transformational. Another aspect to consider is that hard trials teach valuable lessons that cannot be learned any other way. Patience, perseverance, humility, and compassion are often born in the crucible of suffering. These qualities are essential for handling blessings responsibly. When blessings come too early or without the proper preparation, they can be squandered or lead to pride and downfall. Trials prepare your heart and mind to receive blessings with gratitude and wisdom. It is also important to maintain hope during hard trials. The temptation to give up or despair is strong when difficulties seem endless. But knowing that blessings often follow the hardest trials gives you a reason to keep going. This hope acts like a light in the darkness, guiding you forward even when the path is unclear. It reminds you that your suffering is temporary and that better days are ahead. During these hard times, it's beneficial to develop habits that sustain you: prayer, meditation, reflection, and seeking support from others can provide strength and perspective. These practices keep you connected to your faith and focused on your goal. They also help you manage stress and prevent discouragement, enabling you to endure trials with grace. Another important point is that blessings following trials often come with increased influence and the ability to help others. When you have overcome significant challenges, you gain empathy and insight that allow you to support and inspire those facing similar struggles. Your blessing becomes not just a personal victory, but a source of hope and encouragement to others. This amplifies its value and impact. It is crucial to understand that the blessing is not always immediate after the trial ends. Sometimes there is a period of adjustment and transition, but rest assured the blessing is coming and it will be worth the wait. The key is to stay faithful, patient, and focused on the promise rather than the present pain. Blessings often come after the hardest trials because those trials prepare you in ways nothing else can. They refine your character, deepen your faith, and ready you to receive your blessing fully. When you recognize that your current stress and struggles are part of this process, you gain the strength to endure. Keep your hope alive, remain patient, and trust that your blessing is on its way, a blessing born out of perseverance and destined to change your life forever. So one of the most challenging aspects of life's journey is learning to trust in God's timing. When you're under stress and eagerly awaiting a breakthrough or blessing, it often feels like things are taking too long. The waiting can be painful, frustrating, and filled with doubt. Yet it is essential to understand that God's timing is perfect, even when it feels delayed. This truth can bring peace, patience, and hope during difficult seasons. The feeling of delay often arises because our human perspective is limited. We tend to focus on the here and now, wanting immediate results and instant solutions. However, God sees the bigger picture, the past, present, and future, all at once. He understands the complexity of your life, the lives of those around you, and the perfect moment when your blessing will have the greatest impact. What may feel like a delay to you is actually a preparation period designed by God to ensure that everything aligns perfectly. When blessings come too early, they can be wasted or become a source of trouble. Timing affects readiness, maturity, and circumstances. God's delay is often a way of protecting you from receiving something you are not yet ready for. It may be that your character, faith, or environment needs more growth before the blessing arrives. This perfect timing ensures that when the blessing finally comes, it will bring lasting joy and fulfillment rather than temporary satisfaction or complications. Waiting also builds important spiritual qualities such as patience, trust, and perseverance. These qualities are essential for living a balanced and purposeful life. When you learn to wait on God's timing, you grow in your ability to surrender control and trust that He knows what is best for you. This trust is not passive but active, demonstrated through faith-filled actions, consistent prayer, and maintaining a hopeful outlook, even when the answer seems delayed. Many biblical stories illustrate the principle of perfect timing. For instance, David was anointed as king at a young age, but waited many years before he actually took the throne. During that waiting period, he faced many trials and learned important lessons that prepared him for leadership. His delayed blessing was not a denial, but a deliberate and perfect timing for God's plan to unfold fully. These stories teach us that waiting is part of God's design to bring about the best possible outcome. It is also important to understand that delays do not mean denials. Sometimes people give up during the waiting period, assuming their prayers or efforts have been ignored. But delay is not rejection. It is often a sign that something greater is being formed. God's delay invites you to deepen your faith and prepare your heart so that when the blessing arrives, you will receive it with gratitude and wisdom. During times of waiting, it is helpful to focus on what you can do rather than what you cannot control. Use the waiting period to grow personally. Develop your skills and strengthen your relationships. This active preparation ensures that you are ready when the door finally opens. Waiting is not wasted time. It is an essential phase of growth and readiness. Another important aspect of God's perfect timing is that it often works through seasons. Life has rhythms and cycles, and certain seasons are designed for sowing, others for growth, and others for harvest. When you understand this seasonal pattern, you can better accept delays because you know that each season has its purpose. The waiting season is preparing you for the harvest season, which will be full of blessings. Faith during waiting is crucial. Holding on to hope and trusting God's promises requires discipline and intentionality. This faith can be strengthened through prayer, worship, meditation, and surrounding yourself with encouraging people. Staying connected to your spiritual foundation helps you resist discouragement and keeps your heart aligned with God's will. When you accept God's perfect timing, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and anxiety. You begin to rest in the assurance that everything is unfolding according to a divine plan. This peace allows you to live fully in the present, appreciating the journey rather than just the destination. It also empowers you to face each day with confidence, knowing that your blessing is coming at exactly the right time. God's timing is perfect, even when it feels delayed. What seems like a long wait is often a necessary period of preparation, growth, and alignment with a greater plan. Trusting in this perfect timing builds patience, faith, and perseverance, preparing you to receive your blessings fully and wisely. By embracing God's timing, you experience peace amid waiting and position yourself for the abundant blessings that are destined to come into your life at the right moment.